We good? We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about the Wall Street bloodbath today in today's Real Talk session. We're going to teach you how to stick with what you're good at, and we're going to explain what that means, what I think is going to happen tomorrow, what I did today, and so much more. I am Mark Melnick. This is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. Wow, where does one start today? I have so much to talk about. I'm going to teach you things and I'm going to explain to you what it really takes to make money in this market. And everybody approaches it differently, and there are a billion ways to make money, and I'm going to show you how to discover what is the best way for you to make money. We're going to go through all that and more. But first, I would like to say thank you to our friends over at the T3 Live Compliance team. Kindly pause this video, and when you are done reading it, go ahead and continue watching. Thank you so much for reading that. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the market, and we have a little bit of an interesting agenda here, and we're going to talk about first managing a bloodbath. So there's many things that traders like to do. There's many things that traders like to really um, do in this market, and I'm going to just go ahead and discuss some of them and what you could do to help yourself. But first I want to talk about the bloodbath today. So right over here, you see the triple Qs destroyed. I mean, stay tuned. We're going to do something really cool for you today, guys. Really, like this is really good stuff that I'm about to offer you, and it's free, so take advantage of it. So right over here, we saw the Qs absolutely plummeted today. And as a professional trader and a broadcaster, I have to think to myself, I'm dealing with such a large group of people. However, everybody has their individual strengths. Like if I could cook you the best steak in the world, but then you're going to have people who just don't like steak and it won't do anything for them. And there's people, and I can make a really phenomenal vegetarian dish, and there are people who just not a vegetable person. They're like walking carnivores. They're like walking T-Rexes, and they just need to you know, bite something, and they want to eat something that, a piece of steak that is still mooing, for example. But in a market like this, it presented very interesting opportunities. So first, um, so I approached the room, and this is how I approached it today because the majority of traders are not going to come in and just buy puts. We did make short calls today, but this is how I went ahead and displayed it. So for the people on the Newsbeat Bandit side, they actually were successful today. I said this is 9:05 a.m. today. How often do you see me say there's a good chance we plummet further than the pre-market lows after a big gap down? So first of all, besides the fact that I'm going, explaining this to our room members, I basically am telling you guys, out of left field, today is the day that we could plummet hard. And yesterday I was saying we are going to get another big down day this week. So it didn't surprise me to have a big down day, but it did surprise me for the magnitude of the big down day. Because if you told me the Qs were down 8, 9 points, I'd be like, get out of here. If the Qs were down 3, 4 points, 4.5 points, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. 8, 9 points, no way. I wasn't thinking that. That's the truth. But the fact that we were ready to plummet was easy to predict, in my opinion. I don't think it was difficult. We had a lot of pre-market volume. We were again dealing with a rising wedge here, a bearish rising wedge, and we are gapping down from the rising wedge with volume. Now, the first thing we did in the morning was we called off the 1 minute a plummet in the triple Qs, and it sort of looked like this. So right here was the triple Qs. I basically said right over here, I'm like, guys, if we break I think, was it right over here? Yeah, if we break 178.21, we could plummet in the Qs. Or no, I actually called it, I'm sorry, I called it right here. If we flushed through 177, there are many short calls today. If we flushed through 177.79, we could plummet. And on the 1 minute bar, you could see it just got destroyed. And then of course it never looked back and kept heading lower for the entire day. And that's pretty much what happened today. So the real talk is going to be very effective. I urge you guys, if you want a thing that is really helpful for traders, in my opinion, of all experience levels, to help you. Now, again, I made money every day this week. I made money every day last week. But how I did it is the important part. And that's what I'm going to explain to you with the real talk. So it sort of goes into each other, the real talk and managing a bloodbath. And a lot of you traders like the real talk. And please leave comments. You can always email me. You see on the bottom left right there, mark.melnick at t3live.com. And this is pretty much where I go off on my little rant. Yes, this is this real talk is always rated R. I'm not going to strip in front of you, so this is here to help you. So I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I know a lot of people like to sugarcoat things. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I'd rather just say, this is what I did great. This is what I didn't do great. This is what I ignored. This is what I do. So with the real talk, okay, a lot of people out there, traders, look at a market like this and be honest if this is you. Be honest, because every problem I'm talking about right now, I experience, hence the passion behind it, because I know the feeling. How many traders look at a market like this and the first thing you are thinking is, where can I catch the bottom? I'm asking in my room, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, put it in. How many, and maybe you don't think that. Say that's not me if that's not you. But how many traders actually think that way? There's a large number of you. There's a large number of you who will look at a market like this and you're like, the first thing you're thinking is it has to bounce. As a 19-year veteran trader, that still goes through my head today. Now, my brain is usually strong enough to prevent me from doing that. You have to realize that traders have different strengths. Traders have different strengths and different weaknesses. You know, when you trade and you get into a bad habit, starting a new habit is really easy, but how do you stick with it? And psychology has this surprising solution for us. And, Um, sticking to your trading habits that work is actually very difficult. It's a very, very tough job to do so. And although we know which habits work, like for example, call me crazy. I'll talk from my heart. I used to be a smoker. Um, cigarettes, the stuff I shouldn't have been smoking. I used to be a cigarette smoker for a few years. Every time I would light up a cigarette and pull it to my mouth, I knew I was killing myself. You want to talk, from the bottom of the heart? I humbly believe every single smoker out there accepts the fact that they are killing themselves when they smoke a cigarette. Hence, why traders who smoke cigarettes tend to have worse habits than traders who don't smoke cigarettes. And we're going to talk about that. And I know good traders who smoke and traders who've gotten better after they quit. Now we're talking about smoking cigarettes. The same thing applies to trading, I feel. I sort of feel like you already know which strategies are wrong for you. Like, for example, how many people doubled in today, tripled into positions that were failing when you knew you shouldn't have done it? A lot of traders do that now. I don't do that, but a lot of traders do that. And you know what you're doing is wrong as you are doing it. It's almost as if your brain and willpower are seemingly working against us. Whether it's any aspect outside of trading, when deadlines, responsibilities pile up, even the simplest habits are impossible to stick to. So, I read B.J. Fogg. He's a Stanford psychologist, and he's a very interesting man. And I read some of his research. And what he did was him and his team spent years studying these mega successful companies like Google. He studied Facebook, Twitter, Instagram that have made billions of dollars testing and figuring out how to make people use their products as automatic habits. This is interesting. The findings apply to much more than how to get people to click like, however. So, Fogg, the Stanford psychologist, discovered this remarkably simple and elegant solution to make positive habit building automatic and, dare I say it, enjoyable. I am going to attempt to try to help you figure out what's good for you and help you wire your brain to ensure that you stick with this. A, you have to harness the dopamine effect. Now, you all know what dopamine is. It's that happy feeling you get in your brain, the chemical reaction. The explanation for why we are inclined to click around Facebook rather than eat a vegetable is actually quite simple. It's actually quite simple. Why are you more likely to go through Facebook as opposed to eating a vegetable? It's because it's because it feels good. And your brain is actually reminding you to do it again. You ever sit at the kitchen table? Maybe you don't, maybe you eat with people, other people, family, partners, whatever. Maybe you don't. And you ever walk inside the restaurant and you see the couples at the table both on their own phones like this? So what you need to do is you actually need to do trading habits that produce a dopamine effect in your head. Otherwise, you're going to crave that dopamine and you're going to go ahead and you're going to be taking orders. The majority of traders who took orders after 11 on any given day will lose money. How do I know? Because do 100% of them do it? No. Are you that one person who did it? Maybe. But from all the firm's records I've seen and throughout indisputable, indisputable empirical data, traders who trade after 11 lose money on average. I traded after 11 today and made money. Congratulations. There are 9 other people who did it. So to begin, you must identify this desired outcome. What are you really trying to accomplish here when you're trying to A, figure out how to get dopamine to your brain? You see, I approach the psychology of trading a little differently. You see, when traders keep slamming on positions, they crave that dopamine effect in which they didn't receive. So, what I'm trying to do is actually produce habits that give you that dopamine effect. Maybe, you know, understanding the root of your desire for change will ultimately help you design positive behavioral changes and will structure this entire process. Inside trading, outside trading. If your goal is to follow a healthier diet, try picturing how you will feel from the end results. Think about how you will want to have more energy, better skin, better heart, protect yourself from a million things. Mentally walking yourself through this process of success and the joys of benefits can bring you to teach your brain to be motivated by something other than dread. And then you start with baby steps. As BJ Fogg says, it's much easier and it's much more reliable to start habits that are small and get firmly rooted in the ground by feeling successful. So what I'm telling you, be a Newsbeat bandit and ignore all the other bullshit out there because A, I'm trying to figure out what you're good at. Maybe you're good at swinging. Maybe you're good at intraday. Maybe you're good at scalping. But if you could do something that works for the majority of people out there, you will be successful. You know how many people today? Today's name was McDonald's. It was McDonald's. And again, it was a very low conviction trade because I thought the market was going to plummet. Why? Because we had high volume in the queues. And I say, take it slow and light today, please. There's a good chance we plummet further than the pre market lows. So what did we do today? We did McDonald's. Here was the one and done in McDonald's. Let me show you. This is what the Newsbeat. I didn't even trade McDonald's today, but this is what we offered. Here was the one and done. Here's the 1 minute. Kaboom! Here's the next minute. Boom! As soon as you break 170.74, you're golden. No pun intended for the golden arches of McDonald's. Or maybe pun intended. Yeah, pun intended. Don't you love that? Maybe there should be pun intended. McDonald's rallied to 171.54 from 170.74. That's an 80-cent move. And I know catching a quick 80 cents, whether you're part of 40 of those cents, or 30, or 50, or 60, or 25, might not feel like, oh my God, that should be my day. You got your dopamine fix. You know what they do in some countries? Amsterdam. They have police walking around with syringes giving heroin addicts heroin in the street, and they give them a little bit of heroin to wean them off it. You know that, right? So what am I doing for you as a trader? I'm giving you your heroin. I'm giving you your dopamine shot. I'm giving you your pleasure zone in your brain for a quick move consistently. 80+% effective. A name off the Newsbeat list doing a one and done. Now, that's 80% effective for me. There are traders who actually have a higher consistency rate than me. There are traders who actually have a lower consistency rate than me. So you need to figure out what you're good at. Now, for me, what are my strengths? It's hard to call it a strength or a weakness because here's the bottom line. I look at my swing trades, I look at my intraday stuff, I look at what I do before 11, I look at what I do for the first hour. I look across the board and I make money on every single one. That does not mean that it's going to be easy for you to make money in every single one. You have to find what you're good at. The majority, the vast majority, I will say for every one person, and this is off the top of my head, this is not a statistical number, but I'm a math genius, so believe me, I'm recording the numbers in my head somewhat well. I would say for every one person who's having trouble with the one and done strategy, there's 25 people who have no problems with it, who are touting it as the most amazing thing. I would say well over 90% of people find effectiveness with the one and done strategy. The biggest problem or solution, some of those people could do the one and done and they'll make money elsewhere. Some people will use that as just a way to just add some extra alpha in the morning and they'll just go ahead and do what they normally do afterwards. And then there are traders who have losing accounts, losing track records, and they're trying to get positive. And for those traders, sticking with this has been a godsend. In addition to being simple, enjoyable, and easy to incorporate, I am trying to ingrain these strategies, which this psychologist calls the trigger. Now, the trigger isn't a bullish level in which I'm giving. It's every time you complete an already existing behavior, for example, the one and done, there will be a trigger or an automatic reminder in your brain to do the new one. For example, I'll give you an example. Every time you use the restroom in your home or the bathroom, do 5 push-ups, or every time you hang up the phone at work, take 30 seconds of silent reflection. You'd be surprised how writing these things will incorporate into you becoming a better trader. By the end of the day, you would have done quite a few push-ups, and you would have meditated for a significant amount of time, and suddenly you find yourself as an exerciser and a meditation guru, and you didn't even try that hard. You know what most people are doing in the bathroom, by the way? They're sitting on their phone. I'm watching my news service. What is the market doing? Oh, maybe I'll text someone. Oh, maybe I'll watch a show. That's what most people are doing in the bathroom. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Don't pretend like you're probably like Melnick have cameras around me in the bathroom. Next, in trading, let it snowball. Sure, it might not seem like a massive achievement to do 5 push-ups, or in this case, catch a quick one and done. But these habits will snowball into something amazing if you keep going. If I could share with you, and I will, and I hope some of you are coming, I'm sure some of you are coming to the Active Trader Summit. I want to see the traders come up. I want to see the traders come up, even on stage when I'm talking, even on stage, or come up to me after, whatever you're comfortable with. And all those traders who had $25,000 accounts, they grew it very slowly after a few months to like 30, 35,000. They got better at it. And all of a sudden they have $100,000 accounts, $150,000 accounts, $200,000 accounts. Do you realize how many dozens of emails I've gotten like that? Now, granted, yes, the room is I get it. There are a lot of traders, but I am telling you, it is possible. Now, yes, I will come in like I do today, and I'll call shorts throughout the day and bounces throughout the day, and I'll do that, and I'll break you news before the majority of Wall Street, and that's all fine and dandy. That's not what I'm talking about. What I do, I'm talking about what you are doing to get to the point of profitability. You see, the problem with trading is traders try to conquer every aspect of trading before they have the ability to be good at one. Why? Why do you need to be the person who could call the bottom in the market, who could catch the one and done, who could do this, who could do the high five, who could swing, who could do short term swing, who could do long term swing? Why do you need to be all those people? Why? I was the StarCraft representative in the United States of America. There are three races in the video game StarCraft. You know what I did? I played one race nonstop till I mastered it. In Street Fighter 2, I was the world champion. Why? Because I played one character over and over and over and over again until I was the best in the world. Now, granted, unfortunately, I only have video game references for my life. You know how many 3-point shots Steph Curry takes a day? He's claimed 500 to 1,000, sometimes more. And then you see him on the court and he shoots from 7,500 feet away. Exaggeration. And it just drains every time. You're like, what the hell? Why wouldn't you try to get good at one thing? You do not have permission to try to be a good trader at everything until you're good at one thing. And then, and only then, if you want to move on to the second, you may do so. I was that moron who didn't do it. I was that idiot and imbecile who tried doing that. And I would make a shit ton on the intraday. And you know what I did? I started in 2000. It was about June 2000. I was up probably 700,000. I started trading July 99, and I was well on course to make a million. You know what I did? Because I wanted to think of I was 20 years old, not even 21. I couldn't legally buy a beer. I was 20 years old, and you know what I did? I took $200,000 out of my account and I invested it in stocks like Lucent. Remember LU, Lucent, stocks like Newport Corporation, and I started buying these companies that I liked trading because I believed in the company because I was making money trading them. Could you believe how stupid and naive I was? And everything was going fine. And then September 11th came and whatever I was up went down. And then I kept trying because I had that high, that dopamine was wired within my brain that I was really good at making money on the swing side. Do you understand? If you're a Newsbeat bandit, which hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you are, I don't know about the fifth hundreds, but at least 200 after the last open house, 200 to 300 people minimally are Newsbeat bandits. And they are making money when they follow nothing else but that methodology. Well over 90% of them. Think about it like this. What makes you think that being a well rounded trader is what you need to be successful? When you think about it, people who go to college and get the biggest profession, let's say you're a great car mechanic. Because you're a great car mechanic doesn't mean I want you doing open heart surgery. Because you can do open heart surgery doesn't mean I want you to represent me as a lawyer. Just because you can represent me as a lawyer doesn't mean I want you cooking my meal. So human beings, we are taught and bred to specialize in either one thing or one area. What the hell ever made you think that you were supposed to conquer 5, 10, 15 aspects of trading? What actually ever made you think that? Now, I'm sure there are traders out there who have. I'm one of them. I haven't conquered every aspect of trading, but I've accomplished several, meaning I can make money just focusing on several different areas. My best, what I'm most consistent at in terms of consistency, because I did make more money swinging, whatever. Consistency, I am best at intraday trading. Do I make money on overnights? Yeah. So let's talk about what I did good and bad on the overnights. So we took Neo yesterday, 696. I added in more at an average price of 707, and I dumped it this morning for over $1. So I made a bit over $5,000. Then what I did is I took about 4,000 of those dollars and invested them in intraday overnights off a pullback, which are currently failing. Not only were they failing by the end of the day, but after hours, if the market opens here, it's practically inevitable that the majority of them will not work, including Square, which my options are going to be garbage because the stock's down 8 points after the CFO left of the company. Square is down 31% at the moment in 7 trading days as of right now after hours. Is that amazing? So here, this is what I did today, and here was my strategy. I'm going to show you the bad. This, I think, was bad. I said, listen up. I'm taking up to two one-half positions, meaning I was going to take a certain dollar amount, divide that dollar amount in two, and then divide those dollar amounts among names I want to trade. That was the idea. I said, if the market gaps down tomorrow, remember, I'm saying this at 11:21 a.m. today. So my positions were up all day, down a little, up all day, down a little, and then at the end of the day, down, 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 down. So I was giving back the money I made with Neo. Am I still up money between these positions and the NAO? Yes. But that doesn't make me feel good. Show me a trader who was down $10,000 and finished the day down 2,000, and he'll be happier than a fly on shit. Show me the trader who is up 10,000 and then finishes the day down 2,000, and he's depressed and having the worst thoughts in the world in his head. All right? Now, I'm not depressed or having the worst thoughts in the world in my head. I am used to it because I have conquered this part of trading. However, if this was me, I would even say 5, 6 years ago, I would be in a bad mood. Somebody came next to me. I just wouldn't want to hear their shit. I just leave me alone. Don't tell me what you need. Don't tell me what you want. Leave me alone. I'm going to bury myself in my video games. I'm going to bury myself on the basketball court. I'm going to bury myself on the couch and watch television. And I'm going to do one of those three things and try to pretend this doesn't happen anymore. That sounds like anyone I'm talking about here? Does that sound like you? Whether you're drinking heavy, smoking marijuana, God forbid something else. Does that sound like you? And we all know drinking and smoking marijuana doesn't make you feel better after a big loss. Quite the contrary, it amplifies it. And we all know that. So let's not pretend like drinking heavily makes the pain go away. It amplifies what's already there. So when you wake up in the morning, the pain's still there. You'll almost feel like it lightened because the alcohol amplifies it. It's like if somebody, it's like taking a painkiller. Feel better. Okay, now I'm in pain in the morning again, right? So, when you're actually watching these markets here, you have to actually figure out what you're good at. Now, how do you know what you're good at? You'll only find out what you're good at if you decide to stick with one thing. If you only decide to stick with one thing. Everybody has a million ways of getting better at certain things. If you've actually watched basketball training videos, like first thing they'll do is they'll go through like dribbling exercises and then free throw exercises and 3-point exercises and Then they want you to put all those pieces of the puzzle together. You will rarely, when you're training, do everything at once unless you're just running a scrimmage. But when you actually buy these basketball videos, they actually focus in on one thing. Now, to each their own. If you are that trader who could go through everything at once and learn it, be my guest. But think about it. Even in school, even in school, when you were learning something, you would learn one thing at a time, then another thing at a time, then another thing at a time. When you were in math class, they didn't teach you 20 subjects in one day. You would have time to learn one, then they would move on to the next, then they'd move on to the next, whether it was a short subject and they gave you two in a day, or it was a longer subject and it took you a couple of weeks to learn one thing. You would have to go through step by step. The problem with traders these days is that nobody tells them about these steps. Instead, you are taught, here's a chart pattern that looks good. These are the chart patterns that you should be trading. And the reason why people tell you that is because they're full of shit and they don't know what they're talking about. And they feel like there's no other factors behind the chart pattern. They don't take into account what the market is doing. They don't take in, and some do, some don't. I'm generalizing, right? Some won't take into account what the market is doing. Some won't take into account the sector. Some won't take into account the news. Some won't take into account other resistance and support levels that can make certain bull flags fail and other ones work. Some of them don't take into account the volume of the candlesticks that they're trading off of. There's so many things that are so generalized as this urge to make trading simple has really emerged in today's day and age. It really emerged in this day and age. So, um, the market is going to throw something at you every day. For me and the Newsbeat Bandits, the vast majority of the days, I will be able to find a name that can be successful for me on the one and done, and very obviously for the majority of people around me. The reason why I promote these strategies is because I am trying to I feel like all these traders out there were taken by the arm and yanked up as fast as they can. If I could show you, let's put it this way. I've walked up the Statue of Liberty. I don't know how many steps there are. Let's look it up. Steps in Statue of Liberty. Let me put it this way to you. So the Statue of Liberty has 354 steps, which is the equivalent to 20 stories. Now, besides for some of you workout buffs there, out there who are listening to this, do you think how much more often do you think you'll make it up the first step as opposed to the first 354 steps? What if you had to do that 5 times? What if you had to do that 5 times? How often would you make it to the first step without gassing out as opposed to the 354th step? Now you say, Mark, it's obvious. It takes more effort, takes more energy. The mitochondria have to produce a higher ATP output. I get it, Mark. Okay. I get it. It's harder to walk up several stairs. So my question is, if that is the case, why in trading do people try to teach you everything at once in hope that you figure out what sticks, as opposed to saying, pick one thing and get good at it? Whatever happened to that? Picking one thing and getting good at it. So I want you to figure out these tiny habits for becoming better. For me, I do a lot of things. For you, I think it is of utmost importance that you actually figure out what you're good at. Maybe you're good at two, three things. Maybe you'll end up conquering every aspect of trading. But for the sakes of your success, start with one strategy and see if you could do it for a month. See if you could do it for a month. Do one thing because what's going to hurt traders is see what you traders don't know. A guy who's 100,000. I was looking at an account years ago. I remember a guy had $250,000 and his account dropped to like 47,000. I'm not going to obviously drop the guy's name. Went from a 250,000 to 47,000, and he showed me his entire track record. And I spent a weekend, calculating and looking at it and seeing if I can help him. How many gains versus losses do you think he had? Let's say the dude was down to 50,000. How many approximately? He lost $200,000 over the course of 5 years. 5 years, he lost $200,000 grinding every day. What? How much money do you think he made versus how much money he lost? How many winning trades? What was the total value of his winning trades approximately versus the total value of his losing trades? Now, obviously, his winning trades minus his losing trade should be about negative $200,000. But how much money do you think he made? How much money do you think he actually made and lost? We know he lost 200 grand. You ready for this? 5 years, active trader. He was up I'll round off $4.2 million on his winning trades, and he was down $4.4 million on his losing trade with a $250,000 account, 5 years. $250,000. So I stopped. And he's a member of the room. So I stopped him and I said, "Okay, I see what's going on here." He's telling me, "How do I maximize my winning trades? I need to maximize my winning trades. Here's a trade where I could have made $100,000, but I made $3,000 if I just held it one more day." And you know what I said? "You're approaching it wrong. What you're doing is fine. I want you to stop trading between 11 o'clock and 2:45 every single day. Because statistically speaking, if you cut out that portion of your day, you would be a millionaire." And his jaw dropped. And I showed it to him. I'm like, "Here you go. Here's all the time. Here's the breakdown of times where you lost during these minutes, made during these hours, made during these hours." I said, "All you have to do is stop 11 o'clock a.m. to 2:45 p.m. Eastern Standard every day." And he's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "I'm serious." So he got a professional alarm clock. I had him set it on the highest volume possible. And 11 o'clock a.m. every day, boom, it would play like this loud, annoying rock and roll music. And I mean like he lived he had a house, so he didn't really disturb his neighbors, but that's what he did. Now from 5 years ago, he followed us here to the Newsbeat live room, and by setting that alarm clock and just eliminating what he was bad at and only sticking with the things that he was good at, which was one thing. He was good at one thing. He was average on something else, and he was bad during 11 to 2:45. And by just simply looking at his numbers and developing his strategy around his strengths and weaknesses, he is not only a member of Newsbeat Live Room, he is a millionaire today. He is a millionaire today. He's been with us for 3 years in the room. He was with me in prior trading rooms, which I was running. He is a millionaire today. He didn't maximize his wins. He didn't hold 20% of his position like I like to do. He did his own thing. And all he did was cut out what he wasn't good at, and he moved on. And he moved on. So when you're sitting here looking at the market thinking, Where do I buy on a day where the 15-minute looks like this? Where do I buy? Where is the level to buy? Where should I scoop long? And I did that today, and I'm down money on these positions. Yes, I'm even upswinging for the week because of that one stupid Neo trade. I get it. You want to call me lucky? Nah, not really. I make money. I'll make money at the end of the year. But I gave most of it back. Who knows how much? I probably maybe 90%. I don't even know how much I'm going to give back of it. That depends where we open tomorrow. So a $5,500, $6,000 trade. Now all of a sudden I'm giving the majority back on an overnight. But my strength on the intraday side, I made sure I made money on. I made money on the intraday. Figure out what is easy for you. You ever play that video game and they start you off with, this is how to play. You press this button to punch. You press this button to kick. And it's teaching you like that. I think the one and done and high five strategy are the two easiest strategies I have ever seen in my 19-year career developed into a methodology that can produce consistent returns for the vast majority of people and traders that I have met. What are those strategies? You know them. They're on the internet. It's this. It's this. Don't worry about reading it. There's a full video of me doing it. It's free. Utilize it. If you have the ability to stick with that, do something else with your time. There's this one guy who's working at Staples. He's in the room. He works at the Staples 5 minutes away from me. He trades, he's a worker at Staples. He's like manager, he's getting paid like, I don't want to drop his salary. It's less than $20 an hour. Let's put it that way. And he's working there as a Staples manager. And he has a small account, which his parents loaned him money for, and he wanted to get into trading. And he is a Newsbeat bandit, and he makes more money. He makes more money trading than he does as a full-time manager at Staples. And between both jobs, he's pulling in six figures a year. Low six. Lower than 200, higher than 100. Let's put it that way. I don't want to. You know what he told me when I spoke to him on the phone today? You know what he told me, this guy? I'm like, look, you're making about two and a half, three times more as a trader than you are as a Staples manager. You know, what do you think? And he's like, well, you know what? The job at Staples became the most important aspect of my life. And I stopped him and I'm like, why? You were always a Staple. I mean, he's been working Staples forever. I mean, he was working forever. He's like the store manager. He runs the entire warehouse size Staples. You know what he told me on the phone today? He's like, Mark, you don't realize the job at Staples goes beyond the money that I get paid to be a manager there. The job at Staples I work at prevents me from doing stupid stuff in the market. So when I do the one and done and I need something else to do with my time, I just go to my secondary job. And that job prevents me from overtrading and allows me to keep the money I made in the morning because that's the best thing for my mind to get away from the market when I know I have to be somewhere at a certain time. And that really resonated with me. That really resonated with me. And it's just, again, I'm not telling you to go get a job at Staples. The part that resonated with me is that he found something to do that would pull him away from his computer and allow him to not get sucked into the market. That's why I say, like, if you guys want to shoot basketball, read a book, watch TV, go do whatever it is, work another job in his case, whatever it is, find something that once you make your money in the morning, that you could pull yourself away. One thing that is very common for a Newsbeat bandit is once they make money, they never give it back almost, practically never. And that's why I wanted to really emphasize with. And it's kind of weird because I'm a professional broadcaster, so I'm here all day. Believe me, there are times where it's like 99.9% chance I'm not going to have anything new for these guys, and I'm just going to sit here and look at my screen. But the one time that it happens, they can rely on me that I'll be there. The definition of a Newsbeat bandit, the definition of a new, not a news bandit, a Newsbeat bandit is somebody who follows the one and done and high five strategy as their only trading methodology in the market. And I am telling you, their traders make $1,800 a month just starting with a small $20,000 account. And they're like, Mark, it's great to be up money. It's the first time I'm up money in a while, but it's not enough to get where I need to be. And then I'm like, just stick with it because what you're going to do is you're going to go a little heavier soon. And all of a sudden, your $1,900 months will look like $4,000 months, and your $4,000 months will look like $10,000 months, and your $10,000 months will be $20,000, $30,000 months. And when you're at that level, you've elevated yourself. Maybe, look, each person has their own goals, but you've elevated yourself to a point where the vast majority of people would be comfortable living with a quarter million yearly salary or more. So it's uh it's um it's very interesting to see that. And that's interesting, Gilbert, because we're actually trying to apply the one and done in other markets, and it's actually very effective. Um, I'm not going to give more spoilers than that, but it's kind of funny you said that. Already there, brother. I don't even know what else to say. Find the one thing you're good at, perfect it. Once you perfect that, only then should you try every aspect as a trader. Same goes for almost every aspect in life. You ever hear of a role player in the NBA? Players who are really good defensively, but they really suck at offense. And they really suck at shooting, and they really suck at rebounding offensively, and they really suck at passing, and they really suck at pick and rolling. But they're a role player, so they play a specific role. I want you to be a role trader. What is your role? You don't have to be LeBron James. You don't have to be Steph Curry. You don't have to be able to dribble, shoot, defend, rebound, pass. You don't have to do those things, and you could still get an NBA salary. You could still get a trader's salary. Truth is, there's a lot of traders in our room who make more money than NBA players. That's the irony behind it. That being said, let's go over our precise daily stock levels. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I really just tried to open up to you from the heart. Um, oh, that's a great line. So Carl is saying, Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. That is an excellent line. That pretty much sums up exactly what I'm talking about. Don't be a jack of all trades. Be an ace at one thing. That's really the trick to video games too, in my opinion. And then you have, Street Fighter players who are like, well, if I learn other characters, I'll be better at my main character because I'll know how to fight them better. And I'll just be like, teach their own. The truth is, you can accomplish success in a million different ways in the market, and there are a million different things that are effective at figuring out a way to become a good trader. My argument is if it hasn't been working for you so far and you can't make money up until this point, try my way. Give it a shot. Try being a Newsbeat bandit for 2 months. Let me try. At least let me say that, you know, I tried, Mark, and I gave it a shot. Your chance of success comparative to other strategies that I have seen is, forget about higher than all of them, binocular telescope higher than all of them for the majority of traders. For the majority of traders. When you have more work, you trade less and do better. Exactly, Pablo. So those are our Newsbeat levels. You guys want oh, I'm sure you're oh, that was yesterday's game plan. Here's no plan tonight for tomorrow's names. I don't have any name that's on my radar. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, but I do have some Forex trades that I did throw in that were a little interesting. Here you go. I have one short order, three buys, four US standard lots. Here's the symbol I'm trading. Here's the price I'm trying to short it or go long it at based on sell or buy. Here's my stop loss in case I get filled and I am wrong. I will look to get stopped out there. Here's my take profit in case I get filled and I am right. This is where I will look to take my profit. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you hear so much passion behind my voice, the reason why you might hear a little bit of not the worst profanity, but words that shouldn't be repeated in the third grade, is because I have suffered and been through every one of these things that I am talking about. I am not coming from the position in my ivory tower looking below upon my servants and saying, "This is what you should do." No, I climbed the ivory tower with my fingernails bleeding and slipping every step of the way up to get to where I am today. And I am just trying to share with you the ways that I accomplished this extremely difficult and rewarding journey. Because I promise you this, once you become a profitable trader, regardless of what number it is to make you happy, there are people $40,000 a year makes them happy. The other people 400,000 makes them happy, 100,000, 200,000, million. I've seen every number in the book. But once you accomplish that to the point where you're actually able to sustain yourself as a trader, you will be grateful for every single step that you have climbed on the way up. And if you are able to do that, you will remember speeches like this. You will remember that crazy Mark Melnick dude who was talking to you that night on Facebook or YouTube or in the Newsbeat live room that, you know, did what he thought was best to help you climb that tower to become a successful trader. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our full stock analysis. That is your stocks, my levels, and thoughts. We're the largest, fastest growing trading room in the United States of America. Happy trading, make money. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.